August 1947. After nearly 200 years of British rule, independence had finally arrived in the Indian subcontinent. Crowds cheered. Flags were raised. Hope filled the air. But at the same time, one of the largest and most tragic migrations in human history had just begun. Over 14 million people would be forced to leave their homes. Up to 1 million would lose their lives. This is the story of the partition of British India, the moment that created India and Pakistan and changed the lives of millions forever. The British East India Company first arrived in India in the 1600s for trade. Over time, they gained power through alliances, wars, and political manipulation. By 1858, after the Indian Rebellion, the British Crown took direct control. India became the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. But British rule wasn't peaceful. Economic exploitation, heavy taxation, and racial discrimination created deep resentment. In 1885, the Indian National Congress was formed. Its goal? Greater self-governance. Meanwhile, many Muslims felt politically underrepresented. In 1906, the All India Muslim League was created to protect Muslim interests. At first, many leaders believed Hindus and Muslims could coexist in a united India. But political tensions slowly grew. One key figure emerged, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Originally a member of the Indian National Congress, Jinnah later became the leader of the Muslim League. He feared that in a democratic system, Muslims, being a minority, would be politically dominated by Hindus. In 1940, the Muslim League passed the Lahore Resolution, demanding separate Muslim-majority states. The idea of Pakistan was born. Meanwhile, leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru strongly supported a united India. Communal tensions between Hindus and Muslims escalated in the 1940s. Riots broke out. Thousands died even before independence. After World War II, Britain was financially exhausted. In 1947, the British government decided to grant independence quickly. They appointed Lord Mountbatten as the last Viceroy of India to oversee the transition. But instead of a slow and careful transfer of power, the timeline was rushed. Mountbatten announced independence would happen on August 15, 1947. There was one huge problem. No one had clearly drawn the borders. To divide the land, Britain appointed a lawyer who had never been to India before, Cyril Radcliffe. He was given just 5 weeks to draw a border between India and Pakistan. The result was the Radcliffe Line. It split provinces like Punjab and Bengal in half. Villages were divided. Families were separated. And the final borders were only revealed 2 days after independence. Chaos followed. As soon as the borders were announced, millions panicked. Hindus and Sikhs living in what became Pakistan fled toward India. Muslims living in India fled toward Pakistan. Trains were overloaded with refugees. Caravans stretched for miles. Violence erupted on a massive scale. Entire villages were attacked. Homes were burned. Trains arrived full of corpses. Historians estimate around 14 to 15 million people were displaced. Between 500,000 and 1 million people were killed. Women were abducted. Children were orphaned. It was one of the most traumatic events in South Asian history. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan became independent. Muhammad Ali Jinnah became its first governor-general. On August 15, 1947, India became independent. Jawaharlal Nehru delivered his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. It was a moment of celebration, but also of mourning. Freedom came, but at a terrible cost. Almost immediately, conflict erupted over the region of Kashmir. Both India and Pakistan claimed it. This led to the First Indo-Pak War in 1947. The Kashmir dispute remains unresolved even today. The partition of British India reshaped the map of South Asia forever. It created 2 nations, later 3, after Bangladesh's independence in 1971. It brought freedom from colonial rule, but it also brought unimaginable suffering. For millions, partition was not just a political decision. It was the loss of home, family, and identity. And its legacy still shapes India and Pakistan today.